Hey and welcome, Miss Kira Speaks. Please do your girl a huge favor and stick around till the end of the video. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. I got a new light and I'm hoping it makes matters better and not worse in terms of the quality of the video. But we gonna see. We're here for another episode of Snowfall season 6, episode 1, Fallout. It is the final season, you guys. Whoo! I'm like so keyed up and ready to go. The episode was so much going on. I have so many notes. It was so good. Let's see what we can get out. I don't want to go over all these notes because it's a lot and I don't want to make the video too long because other people's videos weren't that long and some people's at 1 and 2 together, which no. Anyway, like I said, season 6, episode 1. So we open up with Walk On By playing in the background. Nancy Reagan's on the TV talking about the war on drugs. And we see a guy in a uniform and he walks up to a little girl on the porch. She says her dad never came home that night. So the two of them, they get in the car and they head on out and they pull up and it's a crime scene. None other than Louis and Jerome's spot that got hit by Franklin. So the guy, he wants to go and confirm, but the police, they don't want to let him pass. The little girl, she sneaks through, pulls back the blanket just enough to see the bracelet that she made for her dad. And I said, damn, Snowfall, that's how we gonna start? So we see Franklin in the car with V and he's telling her the forensic accountants can't help. The ones in New York said they aren't in the business of recovering illicit funds or illicit gains. The folks in Dallas say without the assistance of federal authorities, there's no chance that they're going to get this money back, and anyone that tells them that they can is lying. V wants to know, what are they going to do? He said he could show her better than he could tell her. So later, they pull up to the new stash house, and it looks like this one has better security than the last one. Nobody knows about it. It's got a keypad, so he's got to get in there. Nice sturdy doors. But she had no idea that this is what he meant when he said the gloves had to come off, that he will be robbing his own family. He says he has to stop the bleeding and buy some time until they can find Teddy. And I wanted to know, what do you think that Teddy's going to do? Teddy made it pretty darn clear that he's not here to help you. Yeah, I was confused with that. So he's like, he's got to get the money in the account. He's still trying to get this property. Lenders don't want dirty cash. He says he's willing to go to the Caymans. Even though he doesn't want to do that, he'll fly down to Miami, whatever it takes. V says he shouldn't have done this. There are other ways, but like I said, he doesn't want to lose that downtown property. She wants him to call Louis and Jerome and apologize for his mistake. And you know, Franklin gets louder than loud. In true Franklin fashion, and he needs her to get on board with what's next. And V, she takes a look around and I'm wondering, what's next? You know someone that can help us, or do I need to go in another direction? She tells him he needs to go in another direction and to get her the F out of there. So we see baby girl, I'll never remember her name, Gustavo's lady, and she's sitting on the porch stressing with them raggedy kids when Gustavo walks up. And I said, houseway. I mean, I knew, but I was like, okay, Gustavo. She wants to know where he's been, but obviously he can't say. So later on, we see him at the bowling alley and he's telling her they can't leave. Surprise, surprise. She's asking what changed. And he's like, again, he can't talk about it. He's talking in circles. He asks her, did Teddy call? Because he doesn't want Teddy to know that he was missing. She tells him no, but she still believes that Teddy's responsible for the wire. And he tells her, oh no, it wasn't Teddy. But he can't say anything else. And I'm just as frustrated as she is at this point because we need answers. Louis and Unc, they're trying to assess their losses. She's not sure. She thinks it's $3 million maybe between their current location and the warehouse. And she says, we both know who did this. How you want to handle it? Unc says he'll talk to him. Later, we see her telling Unc that Franklin walked with $3.4 in cash and product. So now he did take product because I just did my finale for season 5 and I thought he just took cash, but not product. But I was wrong. My bad. Their guy is coming from St. Louis for the pickup, but they got no product and they got no cash reserve to buy any more. It'll take a few days to unfreeze the Panama accounts to free up some funds. Plus, she has no access to the warehouse. We see Unc make a call. Franklin still looking for Peaches. He's talking to a guy that tells him there's no record of him leaving the country unless he used a fake passport or he's still stateside. Franklin wants him found tells him to put the word out. He's willing to pay $250,000 to anyone that finds him, plus a 3% finder's fee. So he's asking the guy about Teddy's family members. This was information that Alton in the past had acquired from this guy. He wants to reconfirm their locations and any other pressure points in his life. Franklin, he's not here to play. So dude reminds him that it didn't turn out so well for his dad last time when he got this info. But Franklin is insistent. Then we see him gather Black Diamond in Dallas and they head to the PJs. Teddy shows up to, I think it was Avi's house, to talk with some sketchy guy. He wants to know Avi's enemy so they can find out who did it. But this is a guy who lost his hearing, apparently thanks to Teddy. And he basically tells him his business with Avi is done, so his business with Teddy is done. So Teddy's like, whoever did this to Avi has my associate. And I said, there it is. He's looking for Parissa's old stinking ass. Dude, he cares not, and has the dudes escort Teddy's ass on out of there. We see Sissy meet with Ruben the Cuban, and she's asking if he's responsible for Avi's disappearance. Franklin is spooked, and he's telling her, this is proof. If we can get to him, we can get to Teddy. If Franklin knows, then Teddy knows, she's telling him. And he's like, yes, that's why we need to move more quickly. He says he needs access to Franklin, and I am still not okay with this idea at all. I mean, I want Franklin to get his get back. I really do, because I want to see Teddy's behind out of here. But him with the, it don't sit right with the KGB. It don't sit too right with my soul. So he asks Sissy to arrange a meeting. The longer they wait, the greater chances that Teddy will disappear. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. at the museum, bring Franklin. Franklin and the ladies, they arrive in the PJs to talk to Big D. And they talk about him being out of the game and Leon being out of the country, bouncing to Africa with Wanda. And Franklin's like, I'm not out of the game. It's too late. Big D said he got a new hookup, Uncle Rome. So Franklin says he can give him the same product for less. Unc's charging 12, he gonna charge him 10. And I said, I bet you can. D says the price is right like Bob Barker, but he doesn't want to get in the middle of any of that family-ish. You won't. It's business. It's not personal. Unc knows. Oh, does he? So he basically tells him, you go to Unc and see if he could beat my price. Big D, he does just that. He meets with Unc and he tells him that he'd rather buy from him, but he got to get his prices down. Unc's like, that's because he stole it from us. And Big D's like, listen, I done told Franklin, I'm going to tell you, I don't want to get in the middle of this family stuff. He says he's just trying to get the bread. It's not personal, but he's got to do what he's got to do. But he did mention to Unc that Dallas and Diamond were going to be dropping that product off later on, so you know it's about to be some shit. Gustavo, he finally meets with Teddy, and it's a little suspect because Teddy's asking him where he was at this whole time. But Teddy says they have problems. He has someone check the jails and the hospitals and nothing. Teddy is stressed out about his old lady, okay? He's like, these folks are trained to do this. Franklin is making them rounds. He heads to the hospital with the ladies to check on Kane. And dude is telling him he took a turn. Franklin says that Kane's a warrior. He then tells them that Leon's out. He left the country, but he's prepared to step up and take his place. Dude says this isn't the time. Franklin, he apologizes, but he says this is a way that they can F with Jerome and Louie and F with their business. Speaking of Louie, she meets with Teddy to do a re-up, and he is suspect. You can tell me what's going on, or this will be the last time we do business. We got robbed by Franklin. Someone cleaned out his accounts. He needed a life raft, and so apparently we were it. So Teddy's like, all right, he'll have Gustavo bring them some bricks later. Oh, and it'll have to be on consignment, Louie says, because he hit their cash reserves too. Teddy says, listen, we're good for it, but what happens to Franklin now? And she's like, I don't know. Franklin, he finally wakes his way back to his office, and V is there, and she is tight. He's telling her, you remember our conversation in Catalina? Starting at 0? This ain't it. It ain't going to happen. But V says, this is on you. This isn't what I signed up for. You're supposed to be getting out of the game. Child, he tried. He really did. She says she worked hard to leave her old life behind, and now he's asking her to go back to it. He says he doesn't do it lightly. This is about survival, and this will determine the course of the rest of their lives and their baby. So he pleads with his lady before he heads out. So later we see Franklin pull up to get on the plane, and as he's walking, who do we see? None other than V. He's like, what's going on? And she's like, this is a woman that goes to Miami to deposit stolen drug money. You have something for me? It's in the back seat, he says. She gives him a kiss and says she'll be back by dinner time tomorrow. I said, okay, V, so now ride or die or nah. I still have my good eye on V, okay? Child, let's just breeze through this. Teddy meets with the government guy, and he's needing help with locating Parissa, is my best guess. And dude is asking how much she knows. Not much about me or the operation. Nothing that can hurt them. Avi's entire operation is burned, and they're going to need a new gun connect, and I am looking forward to see exactly who that's going to be. Any word on the ask? And dude is saying, because, you know, Teddy's trying to get back in the good graces of the government, and dude is like, listen, let's get everything cleared up first, and, you know, everything nice and clean. And they're both in agreement that that $73 million will get him where he needs to be. Dude, he exits, and Gustavo enters, and Teddy tells him Franklin is going to war with Louis and Jerome. Sir sounds exhausted, and I don't care because don't nobody care about Teddy McDonald. So Gustavo asks him if he needs anything else, and Teddy's like no, but he apologizes for the little boy getting hurt the other night and then being at the hospital all night. What hospital was it? And I said, oh boy, here it comes. So Gustavo gives him a name, and Teddy jokes like, okay, well, if anything happens to either one of us, we better not go there. And I said, Teddy's playing, but Teddy knows what it is, and Gustavo knows better too. We see Teddy waiting on a call a little bit later. He gets the call, and he heads over to, I wasn't sure if it was a jail or if it was immigration. If you know, get down in the comments and let me know. And Parissa's there, and she wants to know what took him so long. Child, I am not trying to see Parissa this episode this season at all. Meanwhile, Louis and Jerome are at the club having a meeting with Buckley. The LAPD, they have nothing officially. They're just victims of some unfortunate violence. But unfortunately, they know it's drug related and that they're linked to Franklin's State. He tells them that they need to tighten up. Uncle's like, isn't that what we pay you for? Okay. He's like, it's not that easy now that he's not on payroll, but he still has friends at the force. So Unc says, listen, keep them close and keep your mind right. Like, stay off that stuff because you know he likes to dibble and dabble. Unc gets a page, and you know it's Franklin. So they ask Buckley to, excuse himself, and he calls Franklin back. He wants to meet up. He's been calling him all day. Franklin's like, yeah, I've been busy. Franklin's like, he didn't want it to go this way. He didn't want it to go this way. He asked Louis for help. And Unc is like, so you blaming this all on us? And then Franklin reminds him, your wife went behind my back and stole my plug. And that was business. But I show up and take back what's mine. And it's Steph. Yeah, Franklin, it kind of is. Or, you know what? Get down in the comments and let me know, because some people say it's not theft when it's, amongst the criminal enterprise. But child, I guess it's business when I'm bending over, but it's personal when you're getting it. Is that how it works? Unc's like, listen, if you don't bring back my money, you're going to find out exactly how it works. You want to come after me? That's fine. I came into this with my eyes open, and they still open, nigga. And it's the dial tone for them. You remember back in the day when you can hang up on somebody and they knew you meant that shit? Anyway, these two sitting there looking tight, and we knew it was about to be a problem. And then here comes Queen Louie. There's something else you need to know about last night. After I refused to help Franklin get to Teddy, he pulled a gun on me. And Unc, he did not look happy. Said he was going to kill me. Now, Louis said if he had to or something along those lines, but okay, girl. So she keeps going. And he may have if Buckley wasn't there. I heard you when you said you didn't want to go to war with the family, and I tried to respect it, but I need you to know exactly what you're dealing with. Louis. So Franklin is waiting in the parking lot when Black Diamond and Dallas pull up with the kids in the back seat. They didn't want to make him wait anymore, so they brought him with them. And Dallas is like, you could just give us the location to the safe house and just save us all the trouble. Save them all some time, I think is what she said. But you know, Franklin's not about to do that with these current circumstances, and I don't blame him. So they go and get the stuff out this trunk, and I'm like, so y'all just going to transport the product with the babies in the car? Like, see, I'm not built for the street stuff at all. So I was laughing. Franklin is saying hi to the kids, and one of the kids are like, are you the one my mom is always complaining about? And Franklin's like, yeah, probably. I hollered out of the mouth of Babe. So then Franklin's like, you're not going to take them with you, are you? And child, Franklin, don't be concerned now. And they gave him some sarcastic answer. I was just like, so we see Gustavo when he arrives at a seedy motel. It's the feds. And Tony tells him, listen, there are protocols. You can't just show up here like this. He tells them that he told Teddy that he took Cedro to the emergency room. You worried he's going to check? Yeah, he definitely is. And Gustavo says just as much. Hospital records aren't easy to get, even for intelligence officers. But he says he'll take care of it. And Gustavo's like, listen, I need you to do that sooner than later. Did you tell him any particular hospital? He did. He says he'll take care of it. Informants that do what they say, they make it out alive. But the ones that get flustered, panic, and don't follow protocol, get in trouble. He says his bosses need something now. He wants to see those tunnels as soon as possible. Matter of fact, make that tomorrow. Gustavo, he says okay, but he, makes him promise to take care of it. And child, I hope so, because if he doesn't, Gustavo's ass is toast. Shoot, he didn't want to be a rat when Franklin asked, but look at him now. Although, I guess Franklin really couldn't help him either. Sissy tells Franklin that she held Ruben off as long as possible, but he's getting impatient and he wants to meet with him tomorrow. I said, damn, everything's going on tomorrow. She asked him what happened to burning it all down. And he's like, I'm about to commit treason, so forgive me if I need a minute to, process before lighting the match. You still believe after all of this that America cares about you? If we do this, we may have to face the reality that we have to leave. Baby, and Mama Sissy is about to get into her long behind speech. She laughs just like her son and says the hours, days, and weeks when Alton disappeared in Cuba was some of the worst of her life. She was all alone in a foreign country, didn't speak the language, didn't know what happened, but knew for sure that she'd never see him again. She feared for a long time that they would get her too, until one night she realized why Teddy let her live. It wasn't a moral decision or even convenience. He spared her life because, in his mind, she posed no threat to him. It wasn't even worth it for him to snuff her out. And she knew at that moment that she'd do whatever it took to not only destroy him, but to make sure that he knew it was her. This inconsequential nigga did it to you. And I said the Saints is going to give you a speech, baby. Are you with me, Saint, or are you with them? Franklin says, okay. He'll meet with Ruben. So now we coming down the home stretch, y'all. I hope to God I can edit this properly. Dallas and Black Diamond, they roll up to the PJs with that work. And when they're making the trade-off, Big D, he started to flirt, and it was hella hood and hella uncomfortable. I got a little worried, but they handled their own and they headed out. So now they're on the way in the car talking about, they ain't had some in a while. And Dallas is basically like, Franklin could get that work. And Black Diamond's like, oh, come on. That's our boss. And his girl is pregnant. She's like, that ain't my problem. She says she tear that ass up, and baby, there come the sirens. We ain't got no product in the car. They can't legally search the car. So Black Diamond is telling her to be cool. They want to search the car. We let them, and then we have Franklin call the lawyers. So two cops, they approach the car with guns drawn quite aggressively. They tell them to get out the car when we hear Buckley's old raggedy ass. They get out and he asks them to pop the trunk, and they do just that. He unzips a bag, then he takes the bag out of the trunk. Who else is there? Unc. Unc comes out his car, and I just shook my head because it just got worse. He asks where Franklin is keeping his shit. He stole from me and I want it back. They both say they don't know. Black Diamond says he has some new place, but he didn't tell them where. That's facts. Unc punches Black Diamond in the face. The cops are holding Dallas back, and he tells her it's going to get bad for her in a hurry, and she swears that he didn't tell them. And like I said, she wasn't lying. He gun butts her. While the police are holding everybody back and Dallas is screaming, she's telling the truth. Stop hitting her. Now, I don't know whether he didn't believe them, but he commences to gun button her several times. It was so hard to watch. Dallas back there screaming, they don't know. She got an effing kid. Stop hitting her. He finally does, and he gets up and he tells her he wants his money. Tell Franklin I did this, and I ain't going to stop till I get what's mine. So they drive off and Dallas rushes over to her and she's calling her name, her government name at that. And she's screaming for somebody to call 911. And that is where the episode ends. And looks so good for Black Diamond. I don't know if she made it. And I was really disgusted with Unc for going out like a punk like that and beating up a woman. And yes, I know that they were bounty hunters and that they're in the game. And that's why your girl said, I ain't made for the street shit. How did you guys like the episode, baby? It was a lot. I'm going to try my best to get this up before midnight and get episode 2 up tomorrow. And hopefully after these first 2 episodes, I can scale down the notes and make these videos not that long, because I'm afraid this is going to be too long. I'm not going to hold y'all. Put your thoughts and theories down in the comments, or just let me know that you stopped by and meet me back here for episode 2. Peace.